criticism in the light of historical evidence or based on the context in which a work was written, including about the author's life and the historical, political, economic, and social circumstances of the time. Historical lens, also known as the historical critical method or higher criticism, is a branch of literary criticism that investigates the origin of Asian texts in order to understand the world behind the text. Now, how do you use the historical lens to describe the Great Expectations? I spoke with some professionals who would be able to answer some of my questions.
Professor Keng, could you explain the political system which was in place during Charles Dickens' times in England?
Well, the political system during that time was a constitutional monarchy, where voting was only allowed to people with land, wealth, or education. And just like all the other elite societies, women were not allowed to vote. There's also a shift of power from rural to urban Britain.
Professor Hyunwoo, could you please explain the economic and social conditions during the 19th century?
The social classification was divided into the upper class, which was made of elites and capitalists, new middle class, which included the businessmen, lawyers, etc., and the lower class, which consisted of the common working class. The divisions between the rich and poor widened, which was reflected in Great Expectations through the contrast of Pip, Joe, and Biddy, and Acela and Miss Havisham. Throughout the entire novel, Dickens compares different characters with their economic and social background. Connecting this with Dickens, Charles Dickens and Pip both started out poor, but they both became successful. Pip considers himself too good for his surroundings, just like Charles Dickens when he was younger and had to work. Great Expectation is set in early Victorian England, a time when great social changes were sweeping the nations. The Industrial Revolution of the late 18th century and early 19th centuries had transformed the social landscape, enabling capitalists and manufacturers to amass huge fortunes.
Professor Tarun, could you please explain the characteristics of the literature during the 19th century?
Yes, I could. And I will now. Okay, so the characteristics of the literature from the 19th century, a lot of the values that they had were respectability, evangelism, evolution and progress, hypocrisy, Protestant work ethic, restraint, utilitarianism, and they had a strong emphasis on duty. They also had a lot of themes of idealism, where they focused on daily life and pessimism and doubt. A lot of the key authors were Tennyson, Charlotte and Emily Bronte, Oscar Wilde, obviously Charles Dickens, Charles Darwin, who came into science and contemporary subjects, Rudyard Kipling, who talked using medieval subjects and forms.
Current events of that time include Napoleon's death in 1821, slavery is abolished in 1833 throughout the British Empire, Victoria becomes Queen of Great Britain in 1837, potato famine in 1845, the Crimean War in 1853, the American Civil War in 1861, the Franco-Prussian War in 1870. Charles was born on February 7, 1812 in Portsmouth, England. He was the second of 8 children. After his father's imprisonment, Charles Dickens was forced to leave school to work at a boot blacking factory. Dickens was allowed to attend school again after his father received a family inheritance. In 1827, he had to drop out of school and work as an office boy. Within a year of being hired, Dickens began freelance reporting at the law courts of England.
The social classification was divided into the upper class, which was made of elites, and capitalists. Wait, one more try. See if I can do this.
I can't use
Capitalist.
Where'd you guys just go get the
That wasn't ratchet.
picture?
Okay, that's good.
Let's do it.